Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Dina and today is March 1st. Here's my little March year of celebrations. This will be on my mantle today, or has been since this morning. I just wanted to share that with you because I hadn't shown it to you fully finished. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to participate today in a sal that was working on one of your projects that has a house in it. It was a home sweet home sal. And really I only have one whip right at this moment that has a house in it. And that is Nantucket Rose. You see, there's a little house right back here. And last time I worked on it, which wasn't very long ago, it was one of the last pieces of my video that I just uploaded a couple of days ago. But I had worked on some of the green under this house and had a few little roses done here and had started working on the skirt across here. So I mentioned how confetti heavy this area was here, and that the next time I worked on this piece, that might be what I needed to concentrate on. So that was my goal. I started working on it a little bit yesterday, and I knew I had plenty of time to work on it for today to be able to participate in that stitch along. So I wasn't worried about starting on it the day before. I wasn't going to run out of anything to do, of course, on this piece. But I am really happy to let you know I did get through the confetti. So I have now finished the flowers on either side of Nantucket Rose. So what you see left there that's unstitched is her dress and her lacy apron or whatever that is. Can't really tell. Anyway, that's all I have left now. That's all I have left now is the skirt. But the beautiful part about that is all this confetti is done. And it was a lot. And I did it in a cross-country fashion today. I color completed every color I did. I just started with one that was closest to the top, and I did it all the way through. And in case you can tell, it's lighter up here, and then as it goes down, the colors become a little bit darker. So I was color completing, and they were going along here, and then they would not be down here as much until I hit some of these little darker shadows here, and then they were all on the bottom. But it worked really well. And each time I finished a color, I kind of said to myself, that's the last time I'll be using that color in this piece. So it was kind of fun because it was color completing it for the whole project without really thinking about it. So here she is. This is Nantucket Rose. And now we'll just be working each time on a different section of her dress. So that was a great sal to participate in because it made me work on this piece again so soon, you know, after I had done it. And I'm really, really tickled. As Jessie Marie will say, I'm stoked to get all this confetti done in these flowers. So I appreciate you letting me share that with you and show you what I've been working on. Tomorrow is Saturday, and I have the privilege of meeting a former co-worker for lunch. We are going to drive halfway between our homes. She's back from where I moved from, which is about almost 3 hours away. So she'll be driving about an hour and a half, and I'll be driving about an hour and a half, thereabouts, for both of us. And she'll be heading toward Atlanta, and I'll be heading south. I have to go through Atlanta, but it is a Saturday, so hopefully it'll be a little bit less traffic. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with her tomorrow. So I hope you have a very exciting and fun-filled day tomorrow, whatever you might be doing. And I am also hopeful that by tomorrow evening, I will be back stitching, because I need to get started on my series. I need to do my next Sheep Virtue so that I have it done in time for the sale, for my series sale on the 4th. And so that I don't have much time to stitch each day, Saturday or Sunday. So it may take me till the 4th to get one of them done. And I just want to make sure that I don't miss it. So I hope you're having a great start to your month of March. I will try to update you as I go through the month on my happenings in my life and also in my stitching. So in the meantime, happy stitching, everyone. Bye. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Dina. Today is March the 4th, and I have finished working on one of my little Sheep Virtue pieces for a series sale, or one in a series that started today. I started my piece yesterday. I worked on it quite a bit, and I was able to finish it up today. So I'm very excited about that. Anyway, I want to show you which one I was working on. Number 11. I'm doing these in order of how they were created. This one is Gratitude, and I think it's precious. Only thing I didn't like about it was the border. I have this lovely affinity for reds and pinks, and you'll notice there are those leaves there that are in a red color, and that's the only red on that whole piece. And there's a lot of green and a lot of this kind of goldeny brown color. So I changed it. I did a lot of green around the border, the outside shapes, and then I just did that red in the border on mine instead of the brownish yellow. Camera doesn't like me being that close, I guess. I see it changing colors on you. Anyway, this is the next to last one. I have one more to do. So I'll either finish it this month if I have a couple extra days, or it will be right at the first of the month in April when I finish this. So that's pretty exciting. So I'm going to take my hoop off my table here, and I'm just going to turn it around so you can see my finish. Here's mine. There you go. I think it's lovely. This is how I'm stitching my Afghan. I have this little hoop, and it's the one that Marlene from Stitching by the Lake ordered and showed you. That's how it is connected, and it sits on the table. It hooks onto the edge of your table, and then you can just move this all around. But I think it gives me the perfect amount of workspace to get going. So, finished with that one. I like it a lot. I think they're so sweet. I guess this is supposed to be like a family of sheep at Thanksgiving, you know, having gratitude that they're all there together. So that's a lot of fun. So I have one left to do, and this series will be completed on the Afghan. And I have decided to back the Afghan with a soft flannel to make it more comfortable when you sit under it. And that's what I'll be doing with it. And then, just to let you know, I have made a decision. After I finish number 12, which is Joyfulness, this is the next one coming up, I'm going to do them all over again. I have decided that I don't want to use all the buttons that is in each one on an Afghan, because you'll sit on it, lay on it, I'll want to wash it, and I don't think I want to put buttons on the Afghan. I think it might be a little uncomfortable if you sit on them. So I got to thinking about it, and I got to looking around, and I had seen on one of the Instagram or floss tubes or something where someone had stitched them all as one piece, and they had put something else in the middle of it. So I started trying to find that so I could order the right pattern. I looked and looked and looked, and I hadn't found the right one yet, so I shot my friend Vonna a text message and just asked, hey, would you happen to be familiar with this enough to tell me what pattern it is? She knew. She sent me the name of the pattern, and she sent me a picture of the whole thing put together. So I have it. I've ordered it, and I have it in. Now, this is a good story. Excuse me while I pick it up. Okay. I do have it, and I'll share it with you. But the way I got it is a fun story. So I went online, and I was going to order the pattern, probably just out of like a 1, 2, 3 stitch or something. But then I got to thinking I need fabric to go with this. And my original thought was that I wanted to do it on a blue sky type fabric, and make it just look like it's a beautiful sunny day, and have all the sheep there. Well, I tried that. I looked, and I couldn't find the perfect blue sky that I wanted. So I thought, I need some help. So I called Julie at Reflections Framing and Stitching, because I've talked with her before and ordered from her before, and she's been so helpful. So Julie, thank you again. So I called her and told her what I was trying to do, and she laughed and said, I'm the original person who did that. So I said, well, Julie, that is pure flattery there, because I had no idea you were the one that initiated it. And here I am calling and telling you I like it and I want to do what you did. So that was a kind of a chuckle for both of us. So Julie said she did have the pattern of Sheep in the Meadow, and this is the one that's going to go in the middle, in case you haven't seen it or forgotten which one it was. And she said hers was hanging up on the wall, and she was going to go look at it. So she and I talked about fabrics, and she agreed with me that the summer sky that I was considering had too much white in it. And in case you have been watching, you know I've had to change the color of my sheep because of my Afghan fabric. It was the exact color of the sheep, so they wouldn't show up. So I had to use B5200 or other colors, you know, to make that work. And we were afraid I'd run into the same problem again. So we looked at various blues, and she was my eyes, and she was, you know, describing them to me and saying that she took her the fabrics over to her piece that she had stitched on the wall, and was comparing them to see how the colors were going to look on it. And we got to talking about it and decided that the blue sky was a good idea, but it really wasn't going to work well. So instead, we started looking for a neutral to put it on, and she had a light taupe, a Lugana that was 32 count, and this is what it looks like. It's a beautiful neutral, and the lovely part about it is I think my sheep are going to show up on here much better than they did on my Afghan, because you can see it's much lighter than the taupe. So just enough of a difference that I think I'll be able to use the call for colors on the sheep. Now, if not, of course, I know what I've swapped these out for, so I'll be okay. But I was thinking, wouldn't it be great to have the Afghan in my bedroom, because my colors in my bedroom happen to be this color scheme right here, these reds and greens. and this beautiful light color is what the majority of my quilt on my bed is. So I thought, wouldn't it be great to put that draped over my chair and use it over my lap when it's chilly in there and I'm in there reading or something, and to have this picture with this additional one in the middle and all the little ones around it hanging above the chair on the wall. I haven't hung anything in my bedroom yet that I've stitched. I was waiting for the perfect thing. And I think the sheep virtues would be a great thing to have in a bedroom, because it will remind you how best to treat one another with all of these great virtues. So I liked that idea, and I'm going to do that. So Julie, thank you for that. So I will be getting some graph paper out and making some measurements and trying to lay this out. And I'm not sure when exactly I'll start it, but I don't want to wait too long because I want to put them out together. And so this may wind up being a new start this year that I hadn't planned on. But I could then stitch a sheep virtue still for my series, Sal, for the rest of the year. Wouldn't that be something? But I just wanted to share that with you. Thanks for letting me give you an update on what I've been doing the last couple of days. I hope you're enjoying your stitching, and I'll be back as soon as I have another update to share with you. Happy stitching, everyone. Bye. Hello everyone, welcome. This is Tina, and today is the 5th of March, and I want to share with you a couple of things. First of all, I'll give you an update on a whip. This is the baby blanket that I was making for my naughty knitters. This is to be given to DFAX. I ran out of this yarn, went back to get some more, and the store had changed suppliers and it's no longer available. So I wound up adding a white trim on this side and the other side, or at least that was my plan. Now, let me tell you what happened with it. I'm stitching along, thinking I'm making great progress on this blanket, and it looks beautiful. I think it's quite lovely. Until I tried to fold it up and I realized something. Look at this edge. I had not stopped to look at it, and it looks like I was increasing by 1 all the way out, hooking onto that end there. So I've got to rip all this back again, more than I had to rip the first time. And so I've got the straightness better, but now I don't know how to make sure I stop at the end of the row. Do I need stitch counts? Please give a girl some advice. Anyway, I'm putting this in timeout because I'm frustrated with myself, and I don't want to mess with it right now while I'm angry at myself for what I did. Mainly it's because I don't know how to stop it, how to make sure it's the same exact length all the way across. So if you could give me some tips on that, I'd appreciate it, and then I could start over on that. I have a year to get it done, but I was kind of hoping to do more than one blanket in a year. So just let me know. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention is I am going to be doing a video on the 7th. We have a sale on the 7th, a framing sale, and I have 3 pieces that need to be framed. I've got the frames that I purchased at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. These are off the shelf, ready to go frames that I've measured and was told they will fit, because I had the lady in the frame shop check behind me and make sure. So I'm going to be trying to video a little bit of that, because one of my viewers, one of my followers, has asked if I would show how I do framing. I'll be happy to show you what I do, but I'm not a professional framer. And as I'm showing how I do it, I would really like to hear from you guys if you have some tips and things that will help my process go a lot better. But one of the pieces I have to be framed is Halloween tricks. I've shown you that finish. And so now what I'd like to do is pass this stash along. I like to do that on occasion when I finish a piece and let someone else have the joy of stitching it. So if you are interested in this Saturday Evening Post picture called Halloween Tricks by Stoney Creek, then just put in the comments that you would like to stitch Halloween. That's all you gotta do. And then that way I can put your name on the list and do the random number generator and can select a winner. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is my next new start. I had decided that I was going to be doing a new start every month of this year, and my March start is for a friend of mine whose birthday is in March. And it will be no surprise when you see what this is, who it's for. But my friend Cheryl, who collects Raggedy Ann and Andes, had told me once before if I ever found a piece that was designed by Bob Timberlake, that she would be very grateful if I would stitch that for her. She does not know that I have this. A viewer was kind enough to send this to me when she heard that I was looking for Bob Timberlake artwork. And so I have it ready. I've had it in my stash for about a year or so, and I'll be starting this today. And I'm not going to be starting it alone. I have a friend who has been commenting on my videos and talking with me through Facebook, and her name is Donna. I don't have permission to give her full name, so I'll just say Donna. And Donna and I are starting this together. She's got hers ready, it's kitted, she's picked her fabric, and when we were picking a date to start this month, she said, let's just start, I'm ready. So I looked at my schedule, and I could go ahead and get started today if I flip a couple of things around. So that's what I'm going to do. So this will be my new start today. Now, the last thing I wanted to share with you and why I'm standing where I am is that I went to my knitting group at church, which was before I realized that my blanket was so out of whack, or I would have asked them while I was there. But I went there Monday, and one of the ladies that comes to the knitting group used to cross stitch, and she's got problems now with her vision and her arthritis to the point where she can still crochet, but she can't cross stitch anymore. So she had asked me would I like to have some of her old patterns or fabric or threads, whatever she might still have, and I said, of course, if it's not something that I can use, I'll be happy to gift it at our stitching meetups. So when I saw her Monday, she said obviously she had given away all of her fabric and patterns, or she can't find them. They've been boxed up somewhere, but she couldn't put her hands on them. But she did have what she called her leftover threads. And so she asked me to go by her car and let her give me her thread. So I'm thinking, you know, a box, bag, something. Anyway, she puts 3 of these in my car. These are solid wood. And you can see about the size of them. And she had labeled the front with tape. This is the tape that fell off of this one in the car, but it, you know, with her 0 to 6.99, of course, those were the colors that she had in here. And what she had done is that she had just put them in these little envelopes. She had cut the tops off of them and had stored them in here. And if you look in there, you'll see there's her thread. She didn't bobbinate it or anything. She just put it in here and put the open ends of it up, and they just sat there. But they were in numerical order, so they were easy to find. This is, let me put that back where it belongs. But I thought, what a beautiful box. And I have 3 of these. So what I'm thinking I may do is measure this top and look for a pattern down the road that would fit beautifully on here, put it on a flat mount, and then attach that to the box. But I could put a padded top on these if I wanted to. And then I can use these down the road to store all of my overdyed threads. That's kind of what I have in mind. But aren't they beautiful? I can't wait to get to use them. In the meantime, I have extra floss here that if I don't have it in my stash, I'll look here first before I go buy it. So I really appreciate it. I know Myra doesn't watch my channel, but my knitting friend Myra is the one who gifted this to me. And I just wanted to share it with you, especially how pretty these boxes were. That was a treat. Well, I hope you're enjoying your stitching. It's still early in the month, but I'm excited about my new start, and I can't wait to get going on that. So that's what I'm going to go do, and I hope you have a great day of stitching yourself. Bye. Hi everyone, this is Dina, and I am responding to a request from one of my subscribers. She actually had asked me if I would be willing to show you how I go about framing some of my own pieces. I hesitate to do this because I'm not a professional framer. I'm learning just like the rest of you are. And I've had some success stories, and I've had some that I weren't pleased with, and I had to redo them or take them to a professional framer. So what I'm going to do today is show you a little bit about the process I go through. And if you have some tips for me, I would love to see them in the comments. And if this helps you in any way at all, that's great. Okay, so today I'm going to be working on Ashley's roses. And the first thing you want to do is get your supplies ready. One of the things you're going to need to do is cut your foam core board or your mat board, whatever you choose to put your pieces on. I had this cut for me at Michael's when I went over to buy it. And while I was there, I actually bought a ready-made frame. And the young lady was kind enough to, because I bought the foam core there as well, to cut it for me to fit. And I'm untaping something right here that I want to show you. And then she cut these for me. These are the spacers. They're plastic with an adhesive on the bottom that you peel and stick onto the edges of your frame. This is to allow room for my beads so that they're not up against the glass. And I think that's particularly important if you buy a ready-made frame. That is probably going to be necessary. So I have my spacers ready. My other tools that I've collected is a ruler and my stainless steel pins that I'm going to use to pin this, and then my point driver in case the frame doesn't have points in it that will fit, or in case I need to secure it a little bit more. The other thing I have is twine for lacing my piece in the back. I do pin and lace. I pin everything in place to hold it down, and then I lace everything to try to pull it even tension all the way around, and that allows you then, if you need to take the pins out and kind of shift everything around. But I do try to get it as close as I can. Now, the one thing I will show you what I'm going to do, and then I'll pause the camera and go do it so you don't watch me struggle with it, is I'm going to try to center my piece on the foam core. And the way that I'm going to do that is to try to measure, and this is fortunate because there's a top to this that's on the same row all the way across. So what I just need to do is make sure that I measure all these points and that they fit at the same spot. And then I can do the same at the bottom a little bit, but as you see, it's not as even. And then I'm gonna have to make sure that the sides appear to be centered. Now, if you'll notice in this piece, you've got things coming from the side here. This side goes way over here, and there's really nothing at the bottom to counterbalance this skirt except space. So this is actually just going to be one where I eyeball it more than anything else because you can't really tell if you've got it placed correctly except for the very top. So I'm going to pause the camera. I'm going to do my measuring just to try to get the top as straight as I can. And I will pin the top and the bottom to hold it in place. And then I'll be back and show you a little bit about what I'm doing when I'm pinning. And then I will show you how I lace it. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm at the moment where I'm pinning the last side of the piece, and I'm going to start in the center of the side, and to stretch it I'm just going to pull gently to hold the fabric taut, and I'm going to place my pin into the foam core, my little flathead stainless steel pin, and then I'm going to try to line up the same thread in my weave so that I'm pulling the same amount all the way and not trying not to stretch too hard. Just a gentle tug, not something that's gonna, create puckers in the fabric. And I'm gonna go all the way down this side. I'm going about 1 to 1.5 inches apart. I like to keep them nice and in the right, spot so they don't slip on me. Now this is the last section here. And then when I finish this, I'll be through with the stretching that I do. I don't know any other proper stretching techniques, so I would be very interested to hear from Teresa or Julie or any of you guys who do your own framing, how you go about stretching your pieces. This is how I gently stretch mine, and it may not be what I'm supposed to be doing at all, so I would love to hear from you. What is the proper way to do that? If I lived near you, I would have you frame for me, Julie, but unfortunately I'm nowhere near you. Okay, so now I've got pins all around, and this is how the piece looks. Okay, so on the back, these are loose. They're just pinned right here. So the final step now is to take my measurements again on here, making sure that my top row is still the same all the way across, and that I haven't accidentally pulled too hard or moved anything, and it is straight. Okay. So that's about the best I can do with this one. I did look at the fact that this is straight across and looks like it's coming down out of the sky. It would be wonderful if my frame went right to here, but it doesn't. And I couldn't, without a custom frame, I couldn't make that happen. So it's just going to be coming out of the sky like that. My touching the autumn sky is the same way, because in order to get a picture frame that I could buy off the shelf, I couldn't make it go all the way up to the top. Now, if I had it professionally framed, I could, but that is a difference of several $100s compared to the $22 that I paid for the picture frame that I purchased at Hobby Lobby on half price for this. Or, yeah, this one was at Michael's, sorry, and it was on half price. So now what I'm going to do, pardon me as I adjust the camera, try not to make you sick. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lace it, and so I will get started on the lacing, and then I'll come back and show you when I get toward the end of it, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. It takes a little while, and that way you hopefully won't feel like you're just bored watching me lace. But I will show you at the end sort of how I'll do it, and then was taught by Vanna in one of her classes at a retreat that I went to. And then my local framer at the Purple House, where I had Sleeping Beauty framed, also gave me a tidbit on how to do it to take a little bit of the pressure off so it doesn't pull your fabric quite so hard, or you don't have quite as big a pressure point. And I'll show you that, and I'll be right back. Thanks. Okay, here I am. I'm lacing this piece, and the one thing that I was going to show you that I learned from my framer is that instead of going straight across from point to point to point, making a V like this where your thread comes up and you just keep going like the strings on a drum kind of thing, is to go up about an inch like this through the fabric, so that when you pull them taut, you've got 2 points of pressure instead of one. And now I'm going to try to keep this folded down as I go up here and grab this corner and go over here, pull it down, come to this corner, and tie it off. Now before I tighten it up, this is what you do. You go through and just gently pull to tighten your string, your lacing. See how loose it is now? How high I can lift it? And I'm just gently pulling it to tighten it from one side to the next. Look at how much I've got now. I try not to pull it really tight as I'm lacing it because I know I'm going to do this at the end, and I want to be able to keep my fabric from puckering. Okay, so we'll check the front. Here's the front. I don't see any puckers. So I'm going to tie this off. And one of the things I like to do when I tie mine off is to tie down this corner at the same time. So as I'm knotting my thread off right here, I just do a little loop there and I come back through it. And I do that a couple of times just to tighten that down. I don't make it too terribly tight because something may not look right when I turn it over, and I may have to do it again. And if I don't have it too terribly tight, I can get my scissors in there and I can snap it off. Okay? Now, one of the other things I didn't have a chance to show you, but I'll show you now, is that this is one continuous thread, but it wasn't, I couldn't pull it off the spool of thread long enough to do the whole piece without stopping and starting. So you'll see here where I've knotted on the end and just kept going, and you'll see here where I've knotted on the end and kept going. But now when I tug on it, it's all, it functions as all one piece. So here is Ashley's Roses, pinned and laced. Let me straighten the camera up a little bit. Hi again. So I think she's ready now to go in the frame. So I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna put the spacers in the frame. I'm just gonna peel the paper off the back here. Right here on the back is a little piece of paper. I'm gonna peel that off and I'm gonna attach the sticky part to the wood side of the frame, and that way the picture sits on this little step away from the glass. It just lays on top of it. So I'm gonna do that now, and then I'll come back and show you how I put her in the frame. I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. what I've done now is I've put the spacers in the frame. I'm gonna move you down so you can see it. All right, you can see the little spacers along the edge here. You see that little reflective there? I've put the sticky side to the frame, and that just leaves a little step there for the foam core wrapped piece to lay down. I have cleaned the glass with a glass cleaner and dried it with a towel, so it should be ready to pop in the picture. And if we've done everything correctly, oh, look at that. It goes in nicely. Now, this is what the back looks like right now, and that's because I haven't put anything else on here. Now, I can try to see if the back that came with the piece will fit, because it's got the hangers on it, as you can see here. I don't know that it will, but we're gonna try it. Look at that, that is awesome. Now, you'll notice that the frame had these little pieces here. They don't fit anymore because the slot, let me move it so you can see what I'm talking about. This little piece right here, without the piece in there, this would go in and it would just, you know, go into a slot in the wood, and it holds the back in there. But that's not gonna happen here. So I have a choice. I can take my point driver and I can push this down in there and drive that in. Push this down and drive it in. But I can tell that it really doesn't want to go low enough for the point drivers to really go in. I don't know that that's truly going to be an option. I don't feel like this is fitting. It's just laying flush, but it's not actually going to let me drive it in there. So instead of doing this way, I don't want to risk splitting my frame. What I'll do instead is I've got some brown paper that you normally see covering the back of your professionally framed pieces, and I'm going to cut a piece of that. I've got some of the craft glue that will adhere to wood, and I'll put the brown paper on the back. Then I'll have some hanging hardware that has the wire across, and you can put the two hooks in the side there. And I'll have my husband help me do that. So I'll finish it off shortly here, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how she looks in the frame. This frame I selected because, as you can see, it looks like wood grain, and she's picking roses out of a rose tree, a rose bush. And so that wood grain for me was meant to represent the wood grain of the tree. So I'm going to back up here a little bit so you can see the whole picture as best you can anyway. I think it looks pretty good. The only thing I could do more would be to have had a mat cut for it. And I'll tell you why I didn't. I love this fabric, and I think it is such a subtle variegation in the color palette in that fabric, with a little bit of pink, a little bit of peach and yellow. It's the perfect colors that go with this piece. So instead, I think what I'm going to do is leave it without the mat. And so that means that Ashley's Roses is now ready to go. So what I will do is I will use my point driver, and I'm going to put the points in here just to push down on into the wood, and then they'll come around here and hold my picture in place, and then I can put the board around the edge. And I'll I'll illustrate it for you. You just put it flush here on the picture frame, and you squeeze the trigger. And there's your point right there. So I'm going to do this all the way around. Try to turn it where you can see some of it as I'm doing it. I love my point driver. It really has been a great investment. I encourage you strongly to get one if you don't have one, especially if you want to frame anything yourself. I do get my husband's help with putting the hardware on, and I will confide in, tell you, it's one of his least favorite jobs. He does not particularly care for it. So there's the points all the way around, holding my picture in very securely. And now I'm just going to clean the outside of the glass as well, in case it's picked up any little debris. And I do have a towel here to do it with. There we go. Now all I have to do is put the paper on the back. So I'm going to take a moment here. I'll pause and go get the other pieces that I've framed today as well. Today was a framing sale, and so boy have I enjoyed that. So I will take a pause and I'll be right back. Okay, now let me show you the results of my framing sale today. One of the pieces that I had to frame was Let It Snow, and here it is. This is also a ready-made frame that I purchased at Michael's, and this one doesn't have beads on it, so I didn't need to do any spacing in it. It came with a white mat, which I thought was perfect because you see there's a lot of white snow in there, and the white goes perfectly with it. So that's what I did, and because this didn't need anything extra, I was able to use the back that came with the frame, so it already had the hanging hardware on it. I did have to use my point driver to put points in here because these little things wouldn't fit in the groove. Putting the foam core in there was thicker than a photograph. So you have to think about things like that and just make allowances for them. That's why I like my point driver so well. But y'all will remember the Let It Snow. I finished that, I think in January. It was my January start, and I finished it in January or February. I can't remember now. But today I took advantage of the framing sale to go ahead and frame it. So that's going up on my picture rail here in a moment. And then I thought I had the perfect frame for my Halloween tricks. And I actually did put the picture in it. And it was so tight. Even though the lady at the frame shop measured it with me, it just touched the stitching top and bottom. So I didn't like that. So I measured and I went back to Hobby Lobby and I got a different frame because they were still 50% off. And I actually like this one probably even better. So that worked out for the best. So here is Halloween Tricks. It is the Saturday Evening Post. And you can see it fits pretty close. I've got just a little tiny bit of space there. and the boys' feet are just barely showing without it going over the stitches. They're sitting right on the edge. However, for a ready-made frame, I framed this piece for $25. Had I gone to a frame shop, it probably would have been anywhere from $80 to $100 because of the size. I love this frame. It looks like the fence to me. See the fence in the background where the cats are fighting? I just thought that would be fun, you know, to bring that forward and make the frame rustic and old-fashioned and, you know, to fit the theme of this piece. Anyway, I hope you like it. I framed it exactly the same way that I did the Ashley's Roses that I just showed you. In fact, I'll show you the back. I haven't covered it yet, but I pinned and laced it, and then I put it in with the point drivers, and it does have hanging hardware on the top. It came taped so it wouldn't scratch, but now I can untape it, but I'm going to put my brown paper on the back first. So once again, here it is framed, and hope you like it. I'm stoked. I'm pretty excited. I was able to buy these frames, all of them. I waited till there was a sale at Michael's, and I waited till there was a sale at Hobby Lobby. And so I got 3 frames at Michael's. I had the foam core that I purchased and had them cut for me, and the spacers. And I averaged $22 a piece to frame these. I can tell you I've spent a lot more than that on framing before. Even at Michael's. And so anytime I can do this, I will, because it allows me to frame a lot more of my pieces. I can afford $22 a whole lot quicker than I can afford $100 to have something framed. When I went to get the one for Ashley's Roses today, it was a $50 frame. It's beautiful, but it was on sale half price. So I got it for $25, and I was able to, you know, frame it for $25 because I already had the foam core. It was leftover foam core before. So I'm extremely happy, and I just share that with you. I don't normally talk too much about prices or what I spend on things because that's such a personal preference, and it's, you know, everybody has different capabilities on how much available money they have, you know, to spend. But I think we all would love to be able to frame more of our things, and so I'm just encouraging you to get on YouTube, watch some framing tutorials, look at what other people are doing. That's what I've been doing. And Teresa from Kitten Stitcher, thank you so much for your framing tutorial. Still haven't been brave enough to pull a thread out of my fabric yet to guide me, but I'm going to do it at some point because that was a great tip. And Vonna, thank you for teaching me to lace. You can just add things that you've got, you know, that you've learned over the years and put them together, and then you can have something that you're really proud to show off, you know, in your home. So thanks for watching. This has been a little bit of a different segment. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'm sorry that it was a stop and start thing, but I don't think you wanted to watch me do the pinning and the lacing from beginning to end, because I will confess and tell you on Ashley's Roses, I pinned it and unpinned it 3 times before I got it straight. So don't think I just went and did that the first time. I didn't. And that was another reason I didn't want to have the film going, because that really would have driven you crazy to have to watch me undo it and redo it 3 times. But good luck on your framing. I hope you'll give it a try. Thanks for watching. Happy stitching, everyone. Bye. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Dina, and today is Friday, March 8th, and I'm here with an update on a new start. This is my March start for this year, and it is Friends. And this is the adaptation of the Bob Timberlake artwork. And the lady who charted this is Kathy Livingston. And as you know, I've started this as a gift. And so I worked on this a couple of days, and this morning I've decided to stop working on it for now. It's just a new start, and I don't have any more days this week really to work on it, because I want to move on now to my next whip and work on it for the Stitch-a-thon this weekend, starting this evening. So I want to show you how far I got on my new start. There you go. Big blocks of color. That is the edge of the wall right here behind the dolls. And I did all the way to the bottom of the page. So this is about half of the length of the piece, so that should fit on here just fine. I had measured it a couple of times, and hopefully I've measured it correctly. I was tempted to go ahead and stitch all the way to the bottom just to make sure that I had enough, but I folded the fabric in half, and I can tell this ends about right here, that I've got that much room. So I think I measured it correctly. I always worry about that when I start a new piece. I don't know if you do, but I usually do. So that's a good start on this piece. I have at least a year to stitch it. Her birthday is in March, and this would be for her birthday next year. If I finish it early for any reason, if I can finish it by December, it'll be a Christmas present. But I'm thinking this might be a birthday present next March, because it is full coverage. I do hope you're having a good time. That's all the information that I really had to share with you today. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Dina, and today is Saturday. It is March the 9th, and I'm going to give you an update on my latest whip. I have stitched on this piece to qualify for 2 sales. One is a Stitch-a-thon through Cross Stitch Finish Line, and the other is an all-year Christmas sale. And the focus this time for this month was supposed to be stitch on something red and green, R for red. So I picked Glendon Place's Flowers of the Holy Night, because it's definitely red and green, and I figured it would be pretty easy for me to count my stitches for the Stitch-a-thon. So last time we spoke about this, I had stitched all of the motif over on this side, and I was going to move over to the other side, and I had to stitch this green leaf. I had done everything above the line until you get to here, and I had to stitch the green leaf and then this motif. And my goal was to move over this way and try to mirror this side. And I did that. Now I got the green leaf in, and I got the top half of this poinsettia in. And then that was all the time I had from Friday evening and then part of the day today. So my son had to have a repair done on his car today, and he was on call and had to go into work. So I wound up having to drop him off at the hospital and take his car in for its appointment and wait for it. So that took a little bit of my time. I did take that time to read, though. I did get some good stitching in, though. I got in 1,189 stitches on this piece, so I'll go ahead now and kind of show you what that looks like. I've gotten that top half done, so I really am finished with 1/2 of the design, and am now beginning to work on my next rotation. Anything I do under here is on the second half of the page, so I'm pretty excited about that. But I just wanted to show you my progress on that. I'm going to loosen up my scroll frame now and put it away for this month. And I think my next goal is to check my calendar, see what kind of sales I've got coming up, and see what is my next whip I had planned on doing. And I actually have already made a change. I tell you guys when I talk about my planning and using my planner that I do everything in pencil, and I do, because I had actually penciled in for the Stitch-a-thon to work on Simply Love, because that was my most recent new start and I wanted to get some more stitching done on it. But because there was a Christmas sale that I hadn't decided what Christmas piece I wanted to do for that, since I'm working on 3 right now, I thought I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone here, and I can get my Christmas sale done and get my Stitch-a-thon done, and get that piece touched this month, and then start concentrating again on some of my Stitch 9 pieces. So that's what my plans are, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Happy stitching. Bye. This is Dina, and today is Sunday, and I just wanted to give you a quick update on my latest whip that I got a little bit of time in on this month. I didn't work on this one last month, and part of the reason was that it is very summery, and for whatever reason, I wasn't in the mood for that during this cold, wet weather. However, I wanted to get some time on it this month, and I do have to take it a bit slow. This is my Seaside Kingdom. It is by Mirabilia. It is out of print. They did re-release this, and I was able to capture a copy of it during that time. And if you will recall, I decided I wanted to do mine on fabric that looked more like the summer sky and the beach. And I purchased this hand-dyed fabric, and it's actually hand-painted. And so here is my Seaside Kingdom. Now, what I've done new to it, since it's a lot of the same, it's kind of hard to see, but I had stopped with just a little bit of this top portion over here done, just coming down from that top tower there. I had these first 2 towers done. So I came over here and I did this tower all the way down below the flowers, and so now it's going into this wide part down here of the castle. And there's another tower over here that I'll come back and do next time and bring it all down to the same spot. Then within just a few stitches, maybe about 20 to 30 stitches from here, from this outer border, is the little boy's hat, where he's bent over playing in the sand. You can see his little white cap. So looking at this bright colored fabric, I think these sandcastle colors absolutely pop on it. And yes, you can see it does have little gold flecks in it too, which are beautiful. I got a little progress on it. I may not work on it every month until the summer, because I really would like to pick back up on putting extra stitches on my Stitch 9 pieces, so that I make sure that I get all of those finished for the year. I have 2 that are pretty large. In fact, one of them, Nantucket Rose, is large enough that she qualifies for Ginger Gerald's challenge for the competition for the finishing a large project by June. So I might need to put some extra stitches in her a lot over the next couple of months, so that I can get her finished by June to meet that qualification. We'll see. But that's an exciting thing to participate in, is to try to finish one of your bigger projects. And go watch Ginger Gerald's, not this most recent update. He's got a special video out there just for this challenge. but he'll give you all the details on it. You don't have to do anything to let him know you're participating. You just let him know when you finish and send the pictures and all the information that he asks for you to do. So I hope you'll join that. I'm going to try. We'll see if I can qualify with my Nantucket Rose. And I hope you'll take one of your big projects and maybe see if you can get it done by then. Anyway, I hope you've had a fabulous weekend. It's been a busy weekend for me, but a good one. And I hope that you're enjoying your stitching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now. Hello everyone, this is Dina. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, and it is the 13th of March. And we are coming up on St. Patrick's Day pretty quick. I just wanted to stop in today for a couple of things. I wanted to show you what I was able to get at a shop in Atlanta, Georgia that it's not a cross-stitch store, but they do sell some threads and things that we use in cross-stitch. It is a needlework shop. They do needlepoint there. They have canvases. One whole wall is canvases. So if you like needlepoint, you should try it out. If you're in the local area, it's the Nimble Needle, and this is their information. I hope that's large enough where you can see it. My son was kind enough to seek out any kind of cross-stitch supplies he could find in the local area for Christmas and gave me a gift card to the Nimble Needle. And my husband and I braved the trip yesterday and drove into Atlanta and found it, and I was able to do a little shopping there. So from my gift card, what I was able to obtain was beading thread. This is called Fireline. It's a very thin filament. It's clear, and so it's can be used when you're using crystals and things like that, and it's a very thin filament. I had tried the Nymo thread, and I must have gotten the wrong size because it was so thick. It would actually show up beside the bead. I didn't like it, so I may have ordered the wrong size. If y'all know what size you normally get for our small beads, like for a Mill Hill kit or something like that, let me know. But in the meantime, I'm going to try this. It is a 12 millimeter thickness, and this is a 15 yards pack of it. They had a larger pack, but I thought I would try the smaller one just to see if I liked it. And the other thing I got is for a start that'll be happening in October. But because they had it there and I had a gift card, I went ahead and got my supplies there. But I got 3 cards of this, and this is a petite silk lame braid. It is glow in the dark. Now, there you go. That's kind of what it looks like in the dark too, that kind of a greeny color. But I am going to use this thread on my Sleepy Hollow piece that I'm going to start in October for the moon that is behind the horseman. I'm hoping that these 3 cards will be enough, but they have more there if I need it. So I can always just call them and have them shoot it to me in the mail. So those were my purchases with my gift card. I had actually a little bit left on the card, so if I need another one of those, I can get a little bit off of it. So that'll work out just fine. I enjoyed the shopping spree, the little trip. It was fun, and I thanked my son today and showed him what he bought me for Christmas. I also wanted to give you an update on my latest WIP. I pulled out my Simply Love by Glendon Place. And I'm hoping you'll be able to see it, oh yeah, a little bit on the canvas. So I went ahead and did all this white in here. It's actually called Natural in the silk. There's the little circles that go all the way up here, and then there's 2 over here. And I did the same on this side. And I also got this done on both sides and this part done on both sides. So now what's left up here are beads. And now I'll go over here and I'll start on the next section, which is this part right here. Because these little 3 things are beads. And then I need to go over here and pick this up and start here. So that's what I'll do next. And I'll probably work this around and then come down and do all of this to the page break on both sides. And then I can work on the bottom of it. This is going much quicker than Flowers of the Holy Night is going. And I think it's probably because the Flowers of the Holy Night is a much bigger piece and there are a lot more leaves to do. Thanks for letting me share my whips and my framing techniques and my shopping spree with my gift card and everything with you this time. I hope that you have a fabulous St. Patrick's Day and that you're safe and everything goes well for you over that holiday weekend. And I look forward to the rest of the month of stitching. Can't wait to share it with you. Happy stitching, everyone. Bye.